All right, here's my comparison. You ready for this?
All right, hit me up.
All right. Start me up. I've got a quarterback comparison for Kyler Murray because I've been looking for one. I've got a quarterback drafted in the top 10, 8th overall. Played 6 years with the team that drafted him. Played a lot of football games. Didn't win a playoff game. And they cut ties with him. They decided, okay, time to move on. We're not getting anywhere with you. Time to move on. He put up numbers. Wasn't bad. This quarterback in 88 games had and you could side by side, you could do this. 6 seasons, just like Murray. They both played 6 seasons. This quarterback played 88 games, had 123 touchdown passes, 75 interceptions, no playoff wins, losing record, 42 wins, 46 losses. Kyler Murray played 80 games, 8 games less, 110 touchdowns, 55 interceptions, no playoff wins, and a losing record. So both quarterbacks have got a losing record. Touchdowns, 8 games more for this one quarterback. Interceptions, the quarterback I'm talking about had a little bit more than Murray, a little bit more touchdown passes too. The player I'm talking about is Ryan Tannehill. Ryan Tannehill, the Miami Dolphins drafted him 8th overall. And they decided after 6 years that we've got to cut ties. We've got to move on. We got to try to make ourselves better. Because, and I was reading some stuff just going back during that time when they cut him. It said Tannehill was 20th in completion percentage, 27th in quarterback rating, 22nd in yards per game. He did miss a season because of a knee injury, just like Kyler Murray did. So you look at it, he led the Dolphins to the postseason, but he got hurt. So same thing. He led the Dolphins to the postseason once, didn't play in the game. Murray led him there once, lost the game. They both had a knee injury. I just, when I went back and I looked at a 2019 story about like why they were parting ways with him, it was just like, hey, we're just not getting anywhere with this guy. We've got to kind of reshuffle the deck and try to get a quarterback in the draft. And they eventually got Tua out of Alabama. And they just decided, okay, we're gonna stink for a little while. And they didn't want to keep paying him that type of money. They eventually traded him. They traded him and a 6th-round pick to the Titans for a 7th-round pick and a 4th-round pick. They got off the contract. They moved him. They didn't get a whole lot back, but they kind of said, okay, we're 6 years in. We don't want to be 12 years in. We want to get – now, Tannehill ended up being okay with Tennessee. Got him to a couple playoff games. He was pretty good. But Miami decided to move on. And I'm bringing that up because it's a very similar comparison in my mind to where we are with Kyler Murray. You got a decision to make. Do you want 6 years of Kyler to turn into 8, to turn into 10, to turn into 12? Is he the next Jay Cutler? I'm going to play 12 years in the NFL and have one playoff win? Jay Cutler, one playoff win in 12 years. There's a lot of guys like that. Tannehill, to me, was the comparison because the team got off of him. They got off. They said, okay, we're out. We're done. We're moving on. We're going to reshuffle the deck. We're going to draft the quarterback. We're going to be bad for a year or two, and we're going to try to move on.
Understanding the financial component, though, I understand quarterbacks did not make the money back then that they make today. So the numbers are a little skewed. But
he had a 6-year, $96 million contract that had $45 million guaranteed.
Right, but Kyler,
this was in 2015.
Right, and Kyler makes more than $45 million a year. So, like now, granted, I get it. It was 10 years ago that he signed that, and quarterbacks weren't making the money. But it wasn't, for the Dolphins, the financial commitment, just the numbers were not nearly as high as it is for Kyler Murray. I mean, I don't know, Gambo, is there something to be said in terms of how long you hang on to a guy because you've seen flashes? He was the number 1 overall pick. He was the Heisman Trophy winner. You've seen flashes of greatness.
No.
I'm throwing out like just different. Tannehill's rookie year was great too. He shattered pretty much every one of Dan Marino's.
Threw for 3,000 yards.
Think about that. Now, granted, it was more.
And Miami never ran the ball with Marino because they had Duper and Clayton
as
their wide receivers. They threw the ball all the time.
And it was more of a passing league in Tannehill's era than it was in 1983.
I'm saying Marino threw the ball a lot. He was like Fouts. In that era, Marino threw the ball all the time.
He did, and Tannehill shattered his rookie records. Yeah. And Marino, if I'm not mistaken, led the Dolphins to the Super Bowl his rookie year.
Lost to the 49ers.
So
never got back.
I mean, and the Dolphins, but I guess was it easier for the Dolphins to get off of Tannehill when they did in terms of the Cardinals being able to get? Let me ask you this. If money was no object and you could just let go of Kyler Murray right now and move on and try to find your next guy. Would the Cardinals do it after this season?
I don't. It's like, see, here's the thing. It's very difficult because it's not like, okay, we're going to move on from Kyler Murray and we're going to automatically be better with whoever we get. Who are you getting? Who are you going to get? Like, you might be worse. It might take you 10, 20 years to find a quarterback. Look at the Bears. Lauren.
Been waiting 80 years.
Waiting 80 years. They get Caleb Williams. He's no good either. Sorry, but he doesn't look that good.
And you know how rare it is to catch the Sam Darnold lightning in a bottle that the Vikings did this year. So
that's rare. The Sam Darnold in a bottle is very, very rare. But Baker Mayfield has been really good. There are sometimes you can get that retread quarterback, is that what we call him, the journeyman quarterback. It ends up being okay. But a lot of times you like the hard part about Kyler Murray is, you know what you have. You can be competitive in a lot of games. You're not going to be the worst team in the NFL, but you're also not going to be the best team in the NFL. Not winning a Super Bowl with Kyler Murray, in my opinion. Not winning a Super Bowl. But you're also not picking in the, when healthy, you're not winning 3 games. You're going to win 6, 7, 8, maybe 9 games. The hard part is you don't know what's behind the next door. You don't know who your next quarterback is. It's not going to be Clayton Tune. Who is it going to be? You want to draft a guy? You want to sign a free agent? You want to trade for a guy? You don't know. So there's a lot of danger. There's a lot of danger in moving on from a guy. And I think teams are scared of that. I think I know what I have in this guy. He's not great, but he doesn't suck. So I think teams are somewhat afraid to move on from a guy that is just a middle of the pack quarterback, because you can do a lot worse.
The Washington Post wrote an article about the situation yesterday, and they called 2024 a, quote, wasted season for the Cardinals with Kyler Murray at quarterback. And I guess the question, Gambo, is obviously they can keep him for one more year and they can get off him a little bit easier financially after the 2025 season. And we don't know. We don't have a crystal ball, but would 2025 be a wasted season waiting to get off of Kyler Murray for financial reasons? And you hope he can get better. You hope you can make the playoffs next year. But this is the question that there's no answer for. Would you be wasting another season if you kept this guy at quarterback? And I don't know the answer.
There's a philosophy that you want to do poorly when you move on for a year to put yourself in a position to draft a guy. You're not trying to win. You're going to move on from Kyler Murray. You can't get anybody good. You're not better off getting a journeyman that helps you win 7 football games, so you go 7-10 and you're picking 12th in the draft. I don't know what good that does you. You want to put yourself in a position to where you kind of suck for a year.
Right, but then let's say you love Arch Manning. Talking to people at Texas, he's probably going to be a starter for 2 years there. So I mean, if you pinpoint, then you gotta waste a 2025 year, and then you got to tank in 2026 to have the chance to draft number 1 and pick an Arch Manning. I mean, this is why Imani Ossenfort gets the big bucks, I guess. I don't know what the answer is. I really don't. Usually I have pretty good ideas and opinions. I don't on this one. I don't, because you're right. What are you going to do next year?
Tannehill left, and they went to Ryan Fitzpatrick and Josh Rosen. Those were their starting quarterbacks the next year. Ryan Fitzpatrick and Josh Rosen. And
Tannehill won Comeback Player of the Year with the Titans in 2019 and took him to the playoffs. And I'm sure the Dolphins had releaser's remorse at that point.
I was looking at a comparison. To me, the Tannehill won same amount of years, similar trajectory on how they did. They moved on from him. I was looking for comparison. That one kind of reached out to me.
Thanks for watching Burns and Gambo. Click to see more from the guys and hit the button in the middle to subscribe so you never miss a video from Arizona sports.